Pounders, welcome back. We have an exciting episode tonight. We have some returning co-hosts. We gave them a little FMLA leave per the pound. We're going to be jumping into a pit bull draft tonight, $75 entry. If you guys aren't already subscribed, we have a free draft guide for the subscribers on our Discord channel. We are trying to get to 1,000 subscribers before NFL kickoff. If we do so, we will be doing a 24-hour live stream. Max pain, max fun. We're nearing 800 drafts this off season, and we're going to be dipping into Hayden Winks's rankings before we jump into a draft. And without further ado, I welcome. Oh, we cut off heads. Johnny and Tyler, welcome back.
Pleasure to be back with the boys.
How are we doing? Nothing like a midsummer's night draft. Let's do this.
The production is a little different with one person versus three, I will say. Very excited to have you guys back and what you guys provide to the channel. If you guys are long-time pounders, man, like September, when you guys jumped in around that time, start of the year last season. So
yeah, about week 3 last season, I believe, right around there.
Absolute freaks at redraft, and you guys also have been dipping into best ball as well, staying up to date. So let's jump into Hayden Winks's his rankings for August, which honestly could start bar fights. Let's pull this up like this. And there's just so many hot takes on here that this could be a full video in itself. We're going to try to keep this to 15 minutes and just sort of go over like some of the craziest things that are on here. So here you can see the position rank, their ADP right now. And then this is the rank that he has them at. So right away with Cup at 2, his ADP is 4.
Holding strong on Cup here, where he is falling on most boards.
Yeah. In his old age, already starting to get a little dinged up with some soft tissue injuries in camp. Nick Chubb here at 8.
You just wonder if the Rams offense is going to bounce back.
Yeah, that's going to be a big question mark, even like you said, for Staffy, that whole offense.
That's right.
But really, really hot takes comes shortly after with Jalen Hurts at 12, currently going at 25. So you can tell he sort of values these elite QBs for sure, a lot more than other drafters.
I think points-wise, he might not be far off. He could even finish as like number 1 points getter. But if you're looking at just value on positions, I wouldn't be drafting him over any like a Garrett Wilson or even a Travis Kelce at his position value.
And we'll take a peek, see if this correlates with all the QBs moving them up. I know I saw Geno moved up, so I'm curious on like, and I actually think I saw it. We'll get into it where Justin Fields goes, but it is correlated with all his QBs. So it's not like Jalen Hurts moves up and no one else does. Travis Kelce going here at 13 in his positional ranks. Honestly, I'm fine with that. Henry ahead of ADP currently, a Lamb slight fall, and the QBs up here as well. I mean, I like Josh Allen at 27 on Underdog right now. I'm definitely trying to dip into more of that as of late.
Yeah, I'll have to say when it comes to his ideology, Winky's over here, his ideology, he's definitely pro quarterback. He believes in the top, especially the top 3 elite quarterbacks when he moved up the board. It's certainly trending that way if you look at the way people have been drafting.
Hart said below it that he has a mix of ranks and ADP. But it is nice to just get like a little breath of fresh air from someone that isn't just consistently following ADP as it lies right now. And it's just his portfolio. So I think that's interesting to look at. Dude, Amon-Ra at 24. Now I think this is a little too much Amon-Ra hate. Even when J-Mo's back, like Amon-Ra shouldn't be probably going here at 24.
Yeah, I think with the offense that they're building in Detroit, they're trending all in the right direction. Obviously, you have James Williams out for 6 weeks. So who's going to be getting the targets over there? It's going to be Amon-Ra. And I think he's just going to continue to progress throughout the season. And at 24, I mean, if he's there in any best ball draft at 24, I am blindly clicking that any day that ends in Y.
And I guess so. It's his ADP is 14 right now. If you move the 3 QBs below him, he'd be back at 21. So it's not as crazy of a take if you look at it in that manner. But Lamar going right after, then Andrews, Devonta Smith going behind Ridley, going behind Mark Andrews, going behind Lamar. I think that's interesting. Where the wide receiver 2 on Philly, wide receiver 2 on Cincy, where he has them ranked.
He has Goff at 130, so maybe that gives you a little bit of inkling into how he feels about the Sun God.
Perfect. And that's a correlated take. And I think that's important. Like if you're going to be off the receivers on that offense, I mean, it should correlate with the QB. So I'm completely cool with that. Good little insight. This is
That being said, I'm all the way on the Sun God. I love me some Amra. So let's go, baby.
Hell yeah. Justin Fields at 31. I sent out a tweet, I don't know, 5-6 days ago saying Justin Fields will be going in the 3rd round next year. Well, he wants him in the 3rd round this year. And I don't hate it. I really don't.
I think they finally went out. They got him that wide receiver 1 with DJ Moore. So you could see him make that big leap and he could finish the top 5 QB this year easily, especially with the rushing upside.
Can he finish his QB 1?
Potentially. I mean, we saw flashes where he had over 120 yards and just strictly on the ground because that's kind of really all they could muster up with the offense there. But with Mooney coming back, Kmet over there, DJ Moore bringing in like a new mix to that offense, even with Claypool kind of as a bigger body receiver, they're adding some weapons for him to actually throw the ball to.
More 40-point weeks than the top 3 QBs combined.
If there ever is a day where a Chicago Bears quarterback finishes the #1 overall QB in fantasy, I believe hell has maybe frozen over. The 4 horsemen of the apocalypse are riding down the street as we speak. However, I love me some Fields, but yeah, that would be crazy. I don't know if he's going to be able to leapfrog all the way to 1, but a top 5 finish I could definitely see.
Yeah, I do appreciate the Fields getting DJ Moore, and I do think that's going to help him a lot this season. Mooney's getting right, Kmet's getting right, and they're both getting touchdowns. Anyway, I saw Claypool touchdown on the Twitter machine today. That'll excite some pounders on the back end, but I've sort of been fading Claypool. Now I'm starting to mix him in with that last click. This is where it gets spicy, fellas. Mike Williams before Jalen Waddle.
Yeah, that's a tough one.
Whoa.
I think that Waddle ranking is strictly relying on that Tua is not going to play the full season. I mean, he is one big head injury away from potentially being out of the NFL entirely. So who's going to be the backup over there? It's Mike White right now. We saw Teddy B come in, Skylar Thompson. It wasn't the greatest backup quarterback situation in Miami. So if Tua goes out, yeah, you're going to see a drop off in points from both Waddle and Hill. But I think banking a ranking just strictly off a potential Tua injury is ludicrous to me.
Terry says, we're going for the Guinness Book World Record. Get your sunglasses, holy moly, boys. I did not create this website. If you can create a dark mode for this website, I'd fully appreciate it. I know we'll be drafting on dark mode. But yeah, I find it difficult to rank someone based on a what if injury. I mean, that being said, they bring in A-Chain, not going to be the best pass blocker at his size. So maybe they're kind of asking for that. But I think this is a super hot, spicy take. And I'm surprised that Keenan Allen, he actually kept him so high here.
How are we feeling about Keenan Allen this season? I'm still feeling the burn from him last year.
Yeah, I mean, at some point this season, Keenan Allen or Mike Williams going down. It's an absolute, it's a fact. But half point PPR, I'd much rather draft Keenan Allen on DK on full point. This spot seems rich. If you're drafting him earlier in the season, you probably feel better about your portfolio, and maybe you're not adding as much Keenan Allen because he went at 54 early in the big or Best Ball Mania.
I can't have Keenan Allen over Waddle though. I just can't do it.
Especially when
agree.
The Chargers went out and they reached and grabbed a wide receiver in the first round too with Quentin Johnston. It's like they're almost banking again on one of these 2 receivers falling down because we saw both of them down at one point, and Herbert was throwing to Josh Palmer as wide receiver 1 over there in LA. So they're kind of just preparing for the worst case scenario and having one of those two guys, if not both of them, on the sidelines at some point during the season.
It's bound to happen. Joe Burrow, Joe Mixon, nothing too crazy. Olave here at 41. This is probably one of the spicier takes. Having Olave this far down. I mean, I would love to get his full take on this.
Johnny just went passed out based off that Olave ranking.
I hope that was the camera and not Johnny that went down. Johnny's okay. All right, we don't have no more sick leave, so we can't have any injuries on the channel.
I can't guarantee what happened there exactly.
That's the best. But Olave going to 41.
Live feed, baby. Anything could happen here on the pound.
True. You got to work through it. R.I.P. Johnny. We got an R.I.P. Johnny. The thing is, I don't think we're ever going to know what happened there.
Oh, I'll tell you what happened. My laptop fell over.
Professional.
He got mad seeing Olave at 41 and threw his laptop across the room.
That's what it was. I'm a big Ohio State fan. You guys know this about me.
It was probably the spirit of Olave that did it alone. But Olave at 41, almost double his ADP. I mean,
I think it's interesting, especially if you look at kind of what's happening with the running backs over there. Kamara seeing 3-game suspension. It's Derek Carr, the new QB over there. I wouldn't drop him down to 40. Yeah. I mean, he might see more of a target share with Mike Thomas if he's ever able to play a full season again. Who really knows? The slant king kind of just does what he wants. Yeah. But if he's on the field for a full season, there's definitely going to be more of a target share. So maybe that's kind of the logic behind it. But I wouldn't be, dropping him down a full 20 slots in my rankings, really.
Okay, so here's Thomas here at 85. Because after you brought that up, I was curious to see. Now, what happened with that?
Yeah, this is just slander. Olave slander, and I will not stand for it.
Yeah, it's interesting. It's interesting.
I have him closer to wide receiver 12.
Yeah, and I'm fine with that at 12. He has him at 21. It's interesting to say the least. Now, Dameon Pierce, though.
That's it.
Dameon Pierce.
The whole fucking list out.
At 43. Currently going at 70. So definitely expects. And I think Dameon Pierce was one of the major draft winners. And this is clearly saying maybe we're not taking enough Pierce. But I still fear those 2 games against the Titans where they were the best against the run last season. And they plays them twice in the playoffs.
Yeah, and they added Singletary from Buffalo over there. I mean, maybe he's banking on, rookie quarterback play where they just turn the ball right into the hands of the running backs, 60% of the time, and just kind of letting CJ Stroud get comfortable with an NFL offense. But I think you're still going to see a pretty good kind of 50, maybe a 60-40 split with Pierce and Singletary, because Singletary was a serviceable back in Buffalo for some time. So yeah, moving him up a lot is, I think I kind of liked him a lot more down near that 70 spot for the ADP, but I mean, to each their own on this ranking, I guess.
And the next one, Miles Sanders.
When it comes to the 60-40 split, I mean, that's kind of what you're seeing now in the NFL. You're not seeing too many bell cows left, So a 60-40 split isn't horrible, I love Pierce. I think if I can get Pierce as my RB2, I'm looking pretty good.
I agree with that. And I think Pierce should be more separated from Sanders, in my opinion. I see Sanders more as like a dead zone back. I'm surprised he pulled him up here.
I think he's got upside. I mean, when you look at his skill set and when you look at the way that Carolina traditionally likes to use running backs, I mean, he could potentially be on the field for 3 downs. So that's obviously valuable when you're talking about fantasy running backs, especially guys that you can get in this range. And yes, I have to agree. ER7. I am still pissed about the Celtics, and maybe that laptop toss had something to do with it. It's like Tourette.
Damn.
Randomly.
ER7 does not forget. I think Miles Sanders, in order to like justify this rank, like he would have to be a 3 down back. And what we saw from them last year was a lot of like just kind of RBC, like running back by committee. So we'll see like Blackshear's even getting a little steam in camp, and then Chuba there as well. Miles Sanders would really have to be a 3 down back to justify 46. And that's clearly what he's projecting him for. So
and it's not like Sanders is moving into a better offensive system, really.
Right,
He's downgrading heavily. He's going to Carolina, where he's leaving arguably the best offensive line in football in Philadelphia, and that was his a career season. So I don't think it's an upgrade in offense by any means. So, moving him up in rankings, going into a worse situation is kind of not where my head would be at in this one.
I'm okay with mixing him in at 64, but even then, I think even at 64, like when you can get James Conner at what I think is a value, and you can get Dameon Pierce a little bit after, I'd much rather those two. So, or even Akers, to be honest. So, I
think he's kind of assuming the larger role, with it.
Definitely.
So that's if you're gonna roll the dice, it's not the worst dice roll in the world, but I hear what you guys are saying. I personally would prefer James Cook in this situation. I just love his ceiling in that offense, especially in a best ball situation. I love James Cook in best ball. I mean, it's like those big weeks are going to happen. The talent's there. The big play home run threat is there. So,
yeah, the elite offense alone gives James Cook, and I think he's someone that maybe people were under drafting, but we still have to see what that role in the red zone is going to be like. Is it going to be Damian Harris on the 2-yard line? Is it going to be Cook?
Is it going to be Josh Allen?
Yes.
Exactly. I mean,
yes.
The running quarterbacks take a lot out of the red zone work from running back. So
that's what I like.
I'm always hesitant for it.
That's what I like about Cook in a best ball situation, though, is because you're hoping for those big plays, and he certainly has that capability. You're not looking, red zone doesn't matter if you run it in from 40 yards,
True. I like that. I like that a lot. Drake London, Terry McLaurin. I don't have a negative. DeAndre Hopkins, Christian Watson. This is probably closer to where he should be ranked, but if you have no Christian Watson at this ADP, he just has that ability to have that huge spike week that could burn you. So I am still mixing him in for that reason. But I do agree with this at 52. Gibbs, 18 picks after. That's going to surprise a lot of people. And then David Montgomery going right after him, 20 picks before. So you can see how that takes correlated too. How he thinks that Montgomery might have more work early, and Gibbs might not be worth his ADP at 37.
Yeah, it's always risky when you're drafting a rookie running back super early. I mean, you don't know what their role is going to be, especially when they bring in a veteran guy like Montgomery, who was kind of a red zone workhorse for Chicago over the past couple of years.
Yeah.
It is an unclear role for Gibbs. We know he's super talented. They reached up to draft him, so they have a lot of faith in him. But it's always kind of risky when you're drafting someone who doesn't even know kind of what their role is going to be yet.
A lot of teams had him like going towards a lot of those draft boards had him going towards the end of the first.
Yeah.
So the fact that he went at 12 overall. Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah, I love Montgomery this season. I mean, they went out, they seeked him out. They had a good situation last year as far as they're very productive. A lot of touchdowns out of that position, obviously. And they went out and they got a guy that they've seen a lot in their division. And I do think they're going to use him. I think he's going to be heavily, heavily used. And like you said, a rookie running back, I mean, obviously they hit, but with a guy like Gibbs, they keep saying things like offensive weapon, right? So when you start hearing stuff like offensive weapon, it's like, okay, well, what exactly is his role going to be?
Right. In half-point PPR, now he's explosive. In half-point PPR, goal line means a lot, and I think we saw that with Jamal Williams last season. DJ Moore getting steamed down the board, 10 picks, but I think that's tough with also liking Justin Fields so much. So I don't know if I love the correlation of that take. Jordan Addison, he has him going 13 picks earlier. I saw something that Addison and Osborne will be sharing snaps at some point this season. So we'll see. Like Osborne still has that deep shot, like connection with Kirk.
Osborne certainly flashed last season. But Addison, if you watch his college tape, the way he gets separation and man coverage is basically it's elite. And if you have him at that wide receiver 2 spot, he's going to see a lot of man coverage. I mean, if that's really a great spot for him. So we're going to have to see if he can get that wide receiver 2 role.
Definitely. Yeah, I think even towards the end of the season when he does take over for Osborne, like I still think you're going to see Hawkinson getting the second most targets in this offense. Hawkinson's a target hog. Christian Kirk, Trevor Lawrence, Kittle, these are all pretty similar. 29 picks, steamed up. So Dalvin Cook, he has currently going at 93. He has him at 64. This could be dependent on where he thinks he's going to land as well. The Jets, would you put him here if he lands on the Jets towards like the end of the season with that split with Breece Hall, who we presume would be healthy?
I think that's kind of a high position to have him if he's going to be sharing a lot of targets and a lot of touches with Breece Hall.
Versus how about Miami too? Like,
I mean, same thing. You have 3 running backs in Miami who could all be vying for touches right now. And
yeah, you still do anyways.
It's tough for me to like find a system right now where Dalvin Cook's going to fall into and immediately be kind of a number 1 back.
You're just going to
splitting time. Yeah, splitting time. I don't think I can see him being, an RB1 option or even an RB2 option. Really, I think he's going to be more of that fringe flex guy or like an RB3, like on most fantasy teams, especially if you're drafting him around this like spot. I would be going with a James Conner who's much more he's in a much better situation right now, where his coaches have both come out, and his offensive coordinator and head coach have come out saying we're totally fine with the thought of James Conner being our bell cow for this season.
And he's going to be. And he has him steamed up 15 picks, which is over a full round. And I completely agree with this one.
100% agree. Great value.
With any QB. With Colt McCoy, he's a great value at this price.
I mean, he's averaged more points with Kyler Murray off the field than with Kyler Murray on the field. So if people are worried about that, I mean, that right there just tells you that he's been more serviceable without Kyler Murray kind of running around and taking away some of his rushing touchdowns than when he's on the field. So it's value there.
You guys a question. With all these free agent running backs floating around, some pretty high profile names, who's your favorite to draft right now?
Of those?
Your Elliott, Cook, Fournette.
I think Cook's fine at his ADP 93. Fournette, I think's okay if you have like 2 or 3 rookies on your team and maybe you want a steady floor from someone. Man, Kareem Hunt just got worked out today in New Orleans. I'm not taking Kareem Hunt at all. I really haven't been mixing him in, but I think Lenny's okay on the right team.
No love for Zeke? No love for Zeke?
No love for Zeke, my friend. We've seen Zeke come and go. The best spot for Zeke is to return to Dallas, just like the best spot for Dalvin Cook is to return to Minnesota.
Right. It's kind of puzzling to see like the only issue is obviously the monetary side of things. Like these teams obviously want these guys on their roster, but they just can't seem to work out contract deals. And that's why they're ultimately free agents. Like the ideal situations for all these free agent running backs is to go right back where they came from. Hunt in Cleveland, Cook in Minnesota, Elliott stays right in Dallas. I mean, even Fournette staying in Tampa Bay would be an ideal situation for him with young quarterback play, potentially with Kyle Trask, or bad quarterback play with Baker Mayfield, one or the other. It's really just a monetary thing. I mean, I don't see a lot of other situations where any of these guys are going to fall in and really take over as like a number 1 or even really like a solid number 2 back.
The only thing is injury, obviously, which you can't plan for. But I was more getting at, like, who do you think has the most potential this season to, have a big impact who's not on the team right now?
I'd say Cook. I think he's the least toast out of all of them. No pun intended. Real quick, Guys, if you're just jumping in, drop a like on the live stream. Subscribe to the channel if you're new. We're doing a 24-hour live stream at 1,000 subscribers before NFL kickoff. We got some breaking news from Shefty. Chiefs expect wide receiver Kadarius Toney and RB Isaiah Pacheco to play in regular season week 1. I mean, I believe it for Pacheco, Toney. I've read this story before.
Haven't we all?
Yeah.
I mean, it's
Let it go.
talented guy when he's on the field, but he can't stay on the field. He's a good, gadget guy, but he cannot stay on the field. And I'm not comfortable with him as a wide receiver 1 in Kansas City. Give me Rashee Rice over Kadarius Toney.
Give me Rashee Rice over MVS.
I'm still a Sky Moore truther. I'm a believer. I'm gonna die on that hill.
He's looking good in camp, and you're feeling good about those shares if you grab the Sky Moore a lot.
Yeah,
earlier.
absolutely. Mm-hmm. Especially early on the big board there, is grabbing all sorts of Sky Moore.
Yeah. Ayuk 20 spots down. I'm not gonna like that one. You already know that.
Really don't understand that one. I'm an Ayuk truther as well. Give me all that.
Let's go. Njoku 26 spots up. I can get behind this. Brian Robinson.
Mm-hmm.
This one's spicy hot. And Penny right behind him too. 2 full rounds. Robinson, I like his ADP more than I like Gibson's right now. I'll get behind that. I don't know if I could put him at 81 on Washington, but I do like his role in this offense with Gibson sort of getting that McKissick role. Like, you're not worried about that for Brian Robinson. The problem is, I think everyone saw it last year, is the eye test. And Gibson was clearly the better running back, but he wasn't shot multiple times in the leg and ass. So I hope. And I think.
Are you saying that might have an effect on the man running?
Yeah, right. So I don't think we've seen the best from Brian Robinson, and I like him. Like, I have a shit ton of Robinson. I like where he goes too.
I like Robinson.
AJ Dillon's off the board, I'm right to Robinson.
Yeah, I think you just have to, factor in that he's not going to be the receiving back.
Mm-hmm.
He's not going to get a lot of catches. He's not even like full point PPR, half point PPR.
Yep.
He's going to be, I think we saw flashes where he had 20 carries, 25 carries per game. And I think that's kind of more of his role, is just straight north and south running. And he's talented, but he's not going to be your receiving back.
Yeah.
That's kind of like why I like Antonio Gibson where he's being drafted, because I do like to have, especially if you're talking flex spot, like running back 3-4 on your roster, not a bad thing to have a guy who catches passes.
You like him at 100 over Brian Robinson so Brian Robinson goes after Gibson.
I think he has Gibson at 108.
Okay.
So
you based on his rankings, you like where Gibson goes versus Robinson at 81. I'm fine with that.
Yeah,
I'm fine with that take.
Really talking about his rankings right now. Sorry about that confusion.
But regular ADP where Robinson goes like 13 or 12 picks behind Gibson, who would you prefer?
You still
like Gibson?
I like Gibson at the half point PPR.
That's okay. Swifty here, no change. You got Bateman up 10 picks, Juju up 32s, pretty spicy. Michael Pittman, I can get behind this at 89. Dobbins. I think Dobbins can burn people this season.
Oof.
If you completely fade Dobbins, I think he can burn you.
He's another one of those guys. If he's on the field, he's going to be getting, touches. We saw multiple times last season where, Gus Edwards was available.
Yeah.
And he just wasn't getting on the field, and they just ran Dobbins until ultimately his wheels fell off again.
Yeah.
But
they don't owe him anything, right? So they can just use and abuse him, and then they don't have to pay him. So, and he has incentive to need to do well to get paid.
Sure.
So I just think with those two things, I like to bet on the player and bet on this offense as well. He's still on a high-powered offense, and that's sort of what I'm doing.
Very talented. If you're betting on talent, it's not a bad thing. The question is the drama going to cause issues over there?
Yeah, right. Even the new OC though, Todd Monken wants to get RBs involved. You have Melvin Gordon going over there. Interesting ad. I'm not too worried about that.
Wouldn't be worried about it at all, to be honest.
I'd be more worried if they added Lenny. So yeah, I'm cool with that. But other than that, like I'm trying to, so like Rondell Moore, 30 picks before he goes. I think that's spicy. Quentin Johnson minus 26. I'm okay with that. And a report came out today about like Quentin Johnson going to be splitting time with Palmer, which is expected to start. Schultz up 26, Tua down 19. I mean, it's correlated with the Waddle take, right? He has Mike Williams going, so that makes sense. Evan Ingram down 18. He has Freiermuth in front of Ingram. Zay Flowers down 28. Van Jeffy up 2 rounds still.
I like his Van Jefferson take. I'll tell you what, I don't think he's getting enough love.
He might not be. He really might not be.
I mean, when everybody else was hurt, he was certainly showing out. There's no reason to think that he's not going to be the wide receiver 2 there. And what if Kupp gets hurt?
Right.
He's high on Patriots receivers. That's
he's super high on Patriots receivers. Juju and Devontae Parker.
He's paying attention.
I don't know. Yeah. Hodgins before Zay Jones, Hodgins before Jameson Williams. There's some spicy takes on here, fellas. And I would go give this list another look. And I think there are some takes in here that I really agree with that are spicy and hot, and I can get behind. Clyde Edwards-Helaire up 56. Gus Edwards up 41, which that correlates with his Dobbins take, right? In a way.
I like Gus Edwards as a late pick this year, big time. But
Samir White.
I don't know if I put him quite this high.
This is probably my favorite one. Hunter Henry up 62 spots.
So he really likes Patriots pass catchers, is what I'm saying.
He must be hanging out at camp, seeing Henry go up and down the field, dancing in the end zone.
I can get behind Conklin's 28, but I don't know if I can get behind Musgrave at 49, having a tough time catching the ball at camp. Mayer, I could even get behind this. I can get behind Trey McBride. I just can't do the Musgrave here, in my opinion. It's just one man. Okay, he's got all Patriots pass catchers steamed up, and he has Mac Jones here. Let's see. So he has Dobbs minus 52 picks. And again, if you guys are just jumping in, this is Hayden Wink's August rankings. Darnell Mooney down 49 spots. Interesting. So he has Darnell Mooney down. He has DJ Moore down, but he has Justin Fields up to the 3rd round at pick 31. So that's one of the only inconsistencies I've seen with his takes.
Tell you what, he's not high on Tyquan.
But he has Claypool up, right? He has Claypool.
That's one New England receiver he is not high on.
No, he gone. He's in the doghouse right now.
Yeah,
they're gonna mix him.
Receivers well.
They're gonna mix him in. And Demario Douglas, like he's getting steamed up right now, but in my opinion, I'd still rather probably take Tank Dell, who's taken 3 rounds earlier, similar profiles, and Tank Dell plays bigger than his size. And Patriots are busy. Like they have Kendrick Bourne. They still have Tyquan Thornton, who's going to get on the field this season.
Yeah. It's going to be a lot of schemed passes too. Like there's going to be a lot. The ball's going to get spread around a lot.
Yeah. Let's jump in. We have 1 spot open for the Pitbull if you want to join us on the live stream. Tipped off the Patreon members. Appreciate you guys. We're going to get our Founders Pounders League off and running pretty soon. We got to set a draft date for that. We just figured out scoring. So we're looking forward to streaming that one live too. We get 7, which is interesting. You can always basically go Diggs in this spot. I've been fading Kelsey. Eckler, I'm okay with mixing in. But if you go Eckler here, what receiver do you get at 18? Because I can't go without a receiver.
Yeah, you're looking at like Olave.
You're praying Waddle comes back.
Yeah, it's
but it usually
Olave,
doesn't.
Smith,
like,
Waddle.
Yeah, it's Olave. I just had this happen to me today where I drafted Eckler high and ended up with Olave, and I was like, ugh, maybe I should have took a wide receiver in the first
Yeah. I think that's what's I love Eckler. I think it's just tricky what goes in the second round, and that's something you have to think about. And here, $75 draft.
You're not getting like a true wide receiver one if you take Eckler there in the first.
Yeah.
I mean, unless he slides, which he doesn't do a lot.
You see Devontae Adams sometimes fall like unforgivingly to this area here.
That's true. It depends on the room you're in. Sometimes he gets hated on pretty fierce.
Yeah, he really does sometimes. I don't know if it's always warranted, but I'm like Diggs is always just a safe pick, or AJ Brown. I'm cool with these two in this spot. I think that's what we're going to be forced to draft. Let's give us some quick shout outs. Max Sauce, welcome to the live stream. NU Collector, Lucky 7, Ches. OTS, what's up, my man? What's up?
I couldn't locate Terrence Marshall on the list, by the way. I was looking for him because I also love me some team.
On Hayden's. I'll look it up.
I was looking on the spreadsheet.
Unranked. Unranked.
That's strike 2 on this list.
Give us Cup at 7. Give us Cup at 7. Do dirty things. There's no way, right?
That would be amazing.
There's no way.
No, I doubt it.
Where there's a will, there's a way.
Especially if they're looking at Wink's list here. We're screwed. Yeah, see?
Maybe.
And we see Diggs go at the 3 spot in this draft. I'm not. Let's stick to the guns here. Let's stick to the guns. 2 out of 12 teams advance to week 15. Week 15, 2 out of 10 teams advance to week 16. Week 16, 1 out of 10 advance to week 17 to a 25 team player pool. Minimum payout $1,500, and you're battling 24 other teams for $120K at the tippity top. Whew. I like this format. I mean, you're gonna have less teams advance, so it's harder to get your teams in. And where this is a 10 entry max, you might not always get the picks you want based on the variance. But I sort of like this format with the smaller week 17. Barkley goes at 13. I think that's correct. Like, he probably shouldn't be going past 13 in any draft right now. Let's see what comes back to us. Chubb off the board. Garrett Wilson.
Love Chubb. He had Chubb at running back 3, which I definitely like.
Yeah, I mean, not a lot of competition in Cleveland anymore. So, new offense, kind of rolling.
That third down rolls up for grabs.
Touches.
And not just that, think about the defenses he's going to see now that they have so much more threats. You know what I mean? The wide receiver threats, quarterback threat. Like, you're not talking about Baker Mayfield. I know we had Watson last year, but that's year 1 after not playing for an extremely long time. So we'll see what happens this year. I mean, I think he's going to see some light boxes compared to what he usually sees.
I don't have a ton of Tony Pollard. I'm cool with actually bringing him in here. Sort of.
Yeah.
New contest too, so you don't have to worry about the ADP rise. And I do want to get some more exposure to Tony Pollard. It's so tough to get him because where I want him is probably around 24, like this range. That's where I'd personally have him ranked. But yeah, if it's just him and Malik Davis, even if they brought back Zeke, I'm okay with Tony Pollard in this 18 to 20 range.
Pollard's the guy, even if Zeke comes back, obviously.
The only worry is just, Dak Prescott throwing the interceptions, team falling behind early, and then they're just forced to just chuck and pray and just kind of basically X out Pollard from the game plan for a majority of the game. But if Dak can get his interceptions under control, then Pollard is in for a huge role.
Definitely. They relied on the run too a lot last season. Ridley off the board at 22. He's been getting absolutely steamed up the board. Absolutely steamed.
Yeah, a lot of this training camp footage of him has been shocking with how good he looks right now.
Mhm.
It is going to be interesting to see him finally get back onto the field, like with gameplay, with actual like full speed gameplay and pads and everything.
Yeah.
He should be. I'm really high on that
Yeah.
that whole offense over there. That's kind of my
Mhm.
dark horse team to come out of the AFC and make the Super Bowl. But I think a lot of people are on that kind of train too.
I wonder if we did go Smith here, if we were able to get the Jalen Hurts fall to 31. We see him go to the Smith team. Vicky Vic, new subscriber. Welcome to the live stream. He got in this draft with us, along with OTS here, drafting in the 4 spot. I believe Het is a pounder as well, but I'm not recognizing any other name.
Oof.
I'm cool with either or. We're picking at 42 with our next pick. So just a quick look ahead. We are in the land of the RBs there. I'm cool with Stevenson here. I don't know about you guys.
Yeah, I like that. I like the Stevenson click here.
Best player on the offense over there, and
Easy.
he should be a majority of their offensive workload. So,
even if they bring another back in, which they probably will, it's
Mhm.
Ramondre time in New
Yeah.
England. And you hear Belichick gushing about his route running, and obviously you saw that last season. I think you're going to see more of it this season. He's going to have a lot of value.
And they're shopping. They're shopping right now for a backup RB. Like they brought in all the dusty vets to work him out, and I wouldn't be surprised if they end up signing someone. But honestly, that only hurts the RB2 there, which
That's
whoever
it.
like Pierre Strong, whoever you have slated as RB2, like Harris, Kevin Harris.
They don't want to run Stevenson into the ground again like they did last year and have just a little bit of relief here and there. That's what I think. I mean, Ramondre's so explosive. Even if he gets a few less touches a game, it might not matter. But I don't think he will.
I agree
a
with
lot
that.
of Ramondre this season.
Yeah, yards after contact, like he's just insane. He breaks skills. Like you try to put him on a graph, and you have to extend the graph because of how far away he is. He's just the absolute outlier. Obviously, we can't go RB on the way back around. No. I wouldn't mind going Fields here and seeing if we could get enough Fields. I wouldn't mind going DJ Moore and seeing if we can get Fields. We have 3 teams in front of us that already have a QB, so we'd just be battling with Vic, Trun, and Het.
4 teams.
No, 3. Well, 3 already have their QB. 3 don't.
Oh, in front of you, you're saying? I thought you were saying total.
I don't mind going either way, like going Fields and then grabbing Moore. Could definitely go 2 wide receivers too at this start, but I want a lot of Fields. Let's just secure them. Let's just secure them.
I love the Fields pick here.
7 picks before ADP is not super crazy. Now we have to slam receivers probably the next 4 rounds. Like even if a crazy value at RB comes to us, this is kind of like where you back yourself into a position. And I don't draft a lot like this. I like to be able to stay open and be able to scoop a falling value. Dude, Lockett at 43 might be spicier than anything that Hayden Winks put up.
Wow.
That's wild.
Wow.
That's wild.
Even with all the news coming out too, that JSN's just been absolutely flourishing on the field so far and has been eating into his targets and workload already. That's crazy.
Damn. I love that though. Andrew, here at the 11 spot, recognized the name, threw it into YouTube, and found us. What's going on, my man? Welcome to the live stream. I wouldn't be overly... Like, I think you have a better chance of going Fields here and getting DJ Moore back than the opposite. Christian Kirk, TJ Hawk. And honestly, we're cool with any of these 4, right? And you could even add JSN to that.
I'm circling Ayuk here in this group.
Yeah, the only reason we go DJ Moore before that correlation.
For sure. I think you have to go DJ Moore for the Justin Fields situation. If you're talking about like in a bubble, no
scoring
Fields,
the most points,
I'm going Ayuk.
Damn.
Well, you like more than Ayuk, like when you don't have.
You want to what? I'm fine with it either way. I'd probably have them ranked extremely closely. I do expect DJ Moore to have a year closer to 2021 this season. And I expect Ayuk to have a very similar year that he had last season. So very, very close in points. Give me the correlation, whatever one's correlated. If they're not, I'm going probably based off ADP, but I have 20% Ayuk. So yeah.
You love Ayuk. Proofs in the pudding.
Ayuk. Yeah. Yeah, it works. It works. We get him to fall back to his 8 picks after ADP, just like we wrote it up.
Tell yourself that story over and over until it works.
Yeah, I mean, it works 12. It doesn't work 12 times off stream. And you just act like you've never missed in your life on stream. It's all set. It's all right. We paid the rake. I paid the rake, I should say, on last night's stream. So it doesn't happen often where I exit a draft and I'm like, yeah, that one wasn't good.
Back to the drawing board.
So bad I had to draft another team off stream, which was Flames.
Taste out of your mouth.
True. So true.
Yeah, I've had drafts before like that, but like unintentionally, I was riding the tee into the Red Sox game and lose service middle of the draft. And next thing I know, I have 4
Dude, you're
quarterbacks.
drafting underground.
When you got 45 minutes to kill,
Tyler,
you need to just throw in a draft.
I think that's a dysfunctional problem. I like it.
You got 45 minutes to kill. What else would you do?
That's hilarious. Andrew bringing in JSN at 59. And in these high stake drafts, he has been a constant riser. People going up and scooping him. This is my 6th Pitbull. Definitely going to be maxing this out. We need back-to-back receivers. We need a receiver here. We need a receiver 79. I don't like getting out of the Dotson range without 4.
Mm-hmm.
It's like after Dotson's off the board. So like now it'd be Pickens. I like to have 4 by this range. We'll see if that happens.
I love Pickens.
Okay. I'm cool with going Gabe Davis or Mike Evans here. I'm actually slightly leaning Gabe Davis just due to the offense.
Yeah, it's kind of where my head was at with that one too. Mm-hmm. I think safer play is probably Gabe Davis just because you're going to have a little more upside there. Not really sure what Tampa Bay's quarterback situation looks like. I've heard that Kyle Trask is, quote, like closing the gap on Baker Mayfield.
Yep.
Which is not a good sign. But Mike Evans, I mean, he's proven to be quarterback proof in the past. So maybe he pulls out another 1,000-yard season, but the touchdowns I think the touchdown regression is real.
This would be what, number 6 or 7 years in a row. He does seem to be QB proof, but another year older, you could sell a story on me on just Gabe Davis over Mike Evans this season.
Yeah, definitely. I think that, especially in best ball, I mean, Gabe Davis is a great wide receiver 3 in best ball, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree.
He has that huge upside potential. Exactly. He's not steady, but he has that huge spike potential. And
that's what you love about him.
In an offense like Buffalo, I mean, that's kind of how they're going to have to operate. They're going to have to be putting up a lot of points to compete in the AFC.
That's it.
So
they didn't bring another guy in. I mean, obviously there was a lot of D-Hop talk. You know, that would have changed the game, but he's the wide receiver too in a very high-powered offense. I mean, the jury's still out on what Kincaid's going to do in year 1. I mean, and Gabe Davis, you got to love that deep ball threat. I mean, I like the pick.
I think it's very clear, like, after Gabe Davis is off too, like, Mike Evans, like, sticks out, in my opinion.
Yeah.
It's just a small ranking adjustment, I think, for me on that one. I still don't like Michael Pittman here. It might sound crazy. I still don't like Pittman here. We could go Pitts for the bring back.
I mean, I love Richardson, but it's like with all this JT stuff that's going on, what happens if JT doesn't play? You know, I mean, what do you think about that whole situation?
We'll get to it after this pick. Ooh. basically one of these two. I would like to get two of
me
these
Elijah.
players. We definitely need a receiver though.
Elijah Moore, baby.
Elijah Moore or Quentin Johnson.
I like Elijah Moore a lot this season.
Over QJ, I would,
Yeah.
but
Completely
there's
fine
not
with it.
many. I'm not a huge Elijah Moore believer this year.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just kind of down on him. I still think
A lot of
DPJ
good
might.
stuff a lot of good talk coming out of camp. So we'll see.
I hope so.
Yeah.
I mean, I hope he finally
Yeah.
turns that chapter and kind of rights the ship in Cleveland, because it ended ugly in New York. But
that sentence is rarely correct. But if LeBron did it, so
we'll see.
Cleveland's been firing on all cylinders, especially in the red zone. Like today, Njoku had a touchdown.
Oh, Cleveland's gonna be good. Cleveland's gonna be good.
He had Cleveland had 6 touchdowns in 8 attempts at practice today. So Elijah Moore had a touchdown. DPJ had a touchdown. Like spread it out. Everyone was scoring today in practice.
It's gonna be high powered, which is crazy. But they did basically sell the franchise to get Watson in there. So hopefully for them he works out.
Not wrong. I'd love to get Kyle Pitts back to us. I think this is sort of where he belongs. Not at 90, but like in this low 80 range. He goes. Now we have a decision to make.
Mm-hmm.
Especially with Swifty off the board, in my opinion. Kyle Pitts is gross, Adam says.
Yeah, he's not wrong.
Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on
Fuck
me.
it. Who's the favorite here? Sutton's having the best.
Baby.
Sutton's having a good camp. Moore's having a good camp. Bateman's on the way back.
I vote Sky Moore.
5 seconds.
I'm fine with Sutton or Moore. I know I'm a Sutton believer, but
I have Sutton on, I think, 2 of these pitties in this range.
The reason I'm a little bit higher on Sutton this year is just, the offense that they're trying to mold around Denver this year is very similar to what they put Mike Thomas in when he had the receptions record. So Sutton's kind of that similar player where if they put him in the slot, he can run those kind of crisp, clean routes. He could be in for a big season, but I mean, I guess the jury's still out on what Denver can actually do with Peyton.
Similar to last year, like after the Tim Patrick injury again, it's like, fuck.
Yeah.
I have to draft Cortland Sutton now.
I was all the way out on Tim Patrick this year.
I can't. At 6'4", he can play 20% of the game, just play the red zone snaps, and he's going to be a force. I don't know. With him being injured, I think there's a clear path for Marvin Mims now to get a lot more snaps, especially early on. But Dolchich in the red zone, it's got to give a small boost to Sutton. It's got to give a small boost to Judy as well. Returning back to us, I see a couple. Well, let's wait. AJ Dillon off the board.
How's your where are you at with Charbonnet?
I'm cool with either one of these clicks, to be honest.
Mm-hmm.
I'd go either one. Charbonnet looks like the shoulders starting to get right.
There are a lot of mouths to feed in Seattle, are there not?
Yes, there's a ton.
Yeah.
They're
rallying around Gino.
It's crazy. I mean, it's just great. I mean, it's great. I love it. It's one of my favorite stories of the year last year. It's not my favorite story of the year.
Going with the penny click.
What was the quote? They wrote me off. I didn't write back.
Didn't write back. Still hasn't written back.
No.
Oh, doesn't even make sense, but it's provocative. We love it.
Exactly. I think Penny here makes sense. Penny or Brian Robinson. I'd probably put Brian Robinson slightly above Charbonnet right now.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm cool with Charbonnet after Brian Robinson's off the board.
A little bit more than Robinson, but even with all those mouths to feed, again, I'm a sucker for those guys that flash big play threats, and Charbonnet definitely fits that bill.
But what do we think his role will be with Kenneth Walker, like red zone wise? Kenneth
Right.
Walker's a mean
That's
runner. A mean
Right.
runner. Brian
That's-
Robinson, he's going to get those goal line carries, especially because Gibson drops the ball. Like,
No, I
no
mean,
pun intended. That dude
that's a
drops the
strong
ball.
point. That's a strong point.
So thinking about it, just like kind of breaking it down, how I think it's going to go in Seattle is I think you'll get pretty close to like a 65-35 split
Mm-hmm.
between, if they were both healthy in a perfect world, between Charbonnet and Walker. And I think you'll get something similar between Brian Robinson and Gibson, but you'll be on the better side of that 65.
Yeah, I agree.
But
I
better
think,
offense, worse offense, that's a whole nother debate too.
right. I think red zone opportunity is going to be a big factor there, and just like how both teams are performing. Washington probably not nearly as well as Seattle,
Mhm.
but I think obviously when you're again, like we touched on earlier, when you're drafting a rookie who has an unclear role, like there's clearly someone above him on the depth chart. You're drafting a rookie, you're kind of just hoping that maybe someone falls down and gets hurt, and he's right there to step right in. But Brian Robinson is definitely sure-handed higher up on the depth chart.
It's true. What do you guys like here for a click? Because I mean, at some point, Kadarius Toney's got to get clicked.
Mm-hmm.
But is
Does
it
he, though?
after? Is it
Are you
after
sure?
Nico Collins is off?
Yeah. I mean,
I
no
think
boy
so.
love.
Dalvin's another one that eventually he's got to be clicked. But we have, like, I'm cool with our running backs. We went running back early. I think we just bring in Nico here.
You got Nico there, yeah.
And I'm definitely liking where our wide receivers are at. So for the listeners, QB Justin Fields, at RB Tony Pollard, Stevenson, and Rashad Penny. Wide receivers AJ Brown, DJ Moore, Gabe Davis, Elijah Moore, Sky Moore, and Nico Collins. Definitely caught up at receiver. So probably this could be a 7 wide receiver team.
A lot of Moores on that wide receiver room.
Yeah, we're gonna try to get one Mo. Like Cole Kmet becomes a clear target for this team. Almost like a must grab, in my opinion.
Yeah, just to add a little bit more to that Chicago layer.
Yeah.
So what about my man Moons over Miami over here, Mooney? How do you feel about Mooney?
Yeah, it's a must grab.
Yeah, I love Mooney, especially in BestBall. And again, I know he's not the most consistent guy. There's plenty of things that you can say negative about his career thus far. He's just one of those guys who I can't quit, Pat. I can't quit him.
I know. No, it's going to depend on if he can stay right and stay healthy this season. Let's steam him up after we pick him, though.
That's the fun thing about BestBall, though. At this format, you gotta love it. Is that you can get guys like that, guys like Gabe Davis. You don't have to sweat it out on Sunday morning if you're gonna put them in there or not.
It's the best. It's the best. We gotta get Johnny back in midseason form where he pumps up the players we don't want to draft. No, I do like the Mooney click. I like where what's his face got Daniel Jones too at 113 to pair him with Richardson. Like that seems strong. Seems like a super strong pairing. No Pittman, but it doesn't matter. Like A-Rich Naked's fine. And this team could target like Alec Pierce, who's been having a really good camp, which is very exciting. Very exciting for my shares. But to answer Dennis, your question, this is going to be the one draft tonight. It's a $75 pit bull. So if you guys could smash that like before you leave, we appreciate that. But we got many rounds to go. Many rounds.
So we targeting Kmet as our tight end 2, I assume? Or are we going tight end 1 with Kmet?
It could be tight end 1 if it comes to that. We just got to see how this board falls to us. So Steve, I completely agree with that take, though. Saying Mooney will be a fine wide receiver 2 of the team. He's not a wide receiver 1. He had an absolute
100%. That's
awesome.
Another reason why I love Mooney this year.
Yeah.
Finally take a lot of pressure off him. You can't have him in a situation where there's too much help, too much safety help over the top. You need get him in more man coverage situations.
Yeah, DJ Moore is going to open him up. I think
Without a
we can
doubt.
definitely. Oh man. All right. He falls back to us right into the pocket. Honestly, I think we're done here with this pick at wide receiver. I think this
Yeah, I didn't
locks up
even
the wide
think
receiver room.
so.
I really do. Like, I think if we pick one more receiver, I think it's overdrafting the position.
Yeah, especially with a lot of the spike week guys that you have, Gabe Davis, Sky Moore, even Mooney. I mean, can only start 3 of them. So
let's, man. So 151 for Komet is pushing it. Now, I don't really care. Sorry. I don't really care if he doesn't come back now that we have 2 pass catchers in Chicago. I think you do start losing some of your single game ceiling by drafting 3, 4 pass catchers in a, run first, basically offense. That being said, I still want Komet for this team. Could be just a good advance rate play if we're already making a bet on this offense to have, we're making a bet in this offense that they are values at their ADP. It's
if we're gonna go for it, we might as well just go for the down and dirty triple stack Chicago style.
Yeah, I would like to. We saw Kyle Pitts fall 17 picks. Goddard fell a little bit. Ingram went basically at ADP. Njoku was reached on. Freiermuth was reached on. Dolce, I believe, was reached on. Same here. And Kincaid basically went at ADP. Trying to read the room, it's like it's a risk either way. I do like these RBs coming up.
You see a lot of reaches at tight end because people wait, and then it turns into a situation where it's like, oh God, that's the best guy left. I better reach 15 picks for him.
Honestly, yeah, this team could very quickly become a 4 tight end team if we don't hit our mark. But if Tank Bigsby's on the board for our pick, damn, look at the Mims team. If Tank's here, I'm going Tank without a doubt.
Are you still taking Bigsby over Kendry Miller now with Kamara's suspension being issued out? Benjamin with the Achilles injury.
Yeah. I'd rather
running back room's thinning out a bit.
I think Kamara only getting 3 games wasn't actually the best case scenario for the New Orleans running backs.
Yeah.
So we'll see. I think Kendry's going to start to earn a role, but can he keep that role when Kamara comes back? If he can somewhat return to form, like Kamara is still serviceable. Who really excites me in this offense is actually Juwan Johnson. They add Jimmy Graham and people are like, oh, like Juwan Johnson falls. Like if 36-year-old Jimmy Graham was going to have an impact, Juwan Johnson wasn't going to hit anyways.
Yeah.
So I've just been buying that fall.
Are we getting the flux capacitor ready right now? I mean, like, come on, Jimmy Graham, please. I think he won me a fantasy Super Bowl 10 years ago. All right.
So true. He did. He won everyone a Super Bowl at some point, but it's not now. So here, Juwan Johnson quote on Carr. I don't know. I don't even know how to say it. It's like my long lost brother. Just knowing we can be out there and click and knows where I'm going to be. And I know where he's going to throw. That's kind of the biggest thing. That chemistry, it's all about trust. He loves him. Another one from today. Rod Walker, beat reporter for New Orleans. Derek Carr went 6 for 6 in the 2-minute drill. Juwan Johnson had 3 catches. My shares would really appreciate Juwan Johnson. I'm buying that dip. Like stocks, like that stock you just won't give up on.
Yeah. I mean, hammer it until you're broke. That's what I usually do.
I have to say I like hard steak here. Yes, I do believe we're talking player coach here for Jimmy. Just like good old Reggie Dunlop.
Year 7. I saw another quote that caught my eye. DJ Moore's going to open me up by Adam. Yeah. You might want to just recheck that. All right. We do get Komet to fall back to us. This is the opposite of what happened last night. I couldn't get shit to come back to me. Right now, it's just falling into my pocket. I could be on auto draft. So we're making a huge bet on Chicago. Where's our next QB looking like? Houston, potentially.
Yeah, gotta look at the wide receivers here.
with Stroud. Maybe we pull in Singletary with the next pick, or honestly, probably need another tight end. And honestly, when I think about this type of contest where it's a really, really small final of 25 teams, I try to play it like a cash game more than a deep field tournament. Focus on what QB would actually give us the best chance at advancing 2 out of 12 teams. Versus who's the correlated takes. Like, I actually don't even care if it's correlated with our guy or not, especially when we're talking about our second QB. I think we're just going to go based off value with that pick. 25 team final, you don't need to be super overly correlated. It's really just you want to focus on advancing as many teams as possible. Let's fuck. I'm cool with Singletary. I think there is a small risk to drafting. Where did Jeff Wilson go? Jeff Wilson went at 150. That's spicy. 24 picks before. Definitely one of my clicks in this range. I saw Ford had an injury today. I think it was a hammy.
Yeah, Ford did get injured today.
Yeah, hamstring. It's our pick. I'm cool with even going Hill with this pick. Letting the board come back to us.
Gadget tight end.
I mean, the guy has spike potential. You can't
He definitely
deny it. I mean, some of the tight ends that get taken before him too, I'm a little like shocked at just because Taysom Hill has had 20, 30-point games multiple times last season. It's like some of these other tight ends are not even seeing more than 8 points throughout the season.
He's kind of a perfect best ball tight end 2-3.
Yeah.
And I probably need more of him too. Like, what is too much Taysom Hill? And to get him on a $75 team, it's kind of like playing catch up. 3 BBMs.
I have to admit it. This is a fantasy confessional right now. I did draft him and Johnson on the same team once, and
I think it's fine. I think that's
that's
completely viable.
Did I just double tap New Orleans tight end?
I think it's completely viable. I really do.
My furthest team to go in the best ball last year was 2 tight end team with Travis Kelce and Taysom Hill, and Taysom Hill filled my flex spot like I want to say 4 out of the 4 or 5 weeks. It was crazy. Like, this is just an absolute bargain at the price he was going.
Even week 1, when I did a stream with Dooley and we found out, we did the math, like who would have won week 1 of Best Ball Mania if it was a single week contest? And Kelce outscored the second highest scoring tight end by 7 or 8 points. And the team that would have won had Taysom Hill at 13.9 points just due to his cost being so much later in Kelce giving up a first round pick basically for that position. And Justin Jefferson went off at 35. So Justin Jefferson was the optimal in that round.
Yeah.
So it's just very, very, very interesting. Gainwell off the board. White off the board. That's definitely one of our clicks. Let's see what Vicky does. He goes forward. Okay, that's another one of the clicks I was looking at. And I think we can just basically go, I think Gus Edwards here.
I love
Gus Edwards or Tajay Spears. And we already have Tank, so.
My vote's Gus.
I'm with that Gus as well. Gus bus.
Different bye week too for the bye week bros.
Gus bus.
5 RBs, different bye weeks.
I think he's a great pick in this range, Gus Edwards. I mean, Baltimore running backs, they do like to run. Obviously, we've gone over the whole threat of a running quarterback taking away red zone touches, but Edwards is a good pick, good value. And who knows what's going to happen? Lots of injuries.
Yeah, and the unknown with Dobbins right now, I think Gus, that makes him even more sexy in this range. I think I
love it for that reason.
We'll see with Todd Monken though, like kind of switching the offense to more pass happy, what that means for Gus. But in this range, round 15, I don't think you can go wrong, to be honest.
Who's KLP 123?
He's the man. Wilson, Zach Wilson.
Oh, he's a Fish fan. That's why I'm asking. Fish references over here.
Is it a reference to your championship game last year?
It's a little fish shirt right here. That's what I was thinking. That's why I thought it was a J.
That's hilarious. It should be. It should be. It really should. It really should
that
be.
one down, man.
It really should be. It really should be.
Oh,
so tough.
Man. It's a tough one.
All right. 2 QB league. It gets dirty. I mean, I know I'm hoping for Dawson Knox to return. And if he doesn't, like, I'm cool with the naked Kenny Pickett. And this is when I talk about like values, who would help this team advance. And Kenny Pickett, 14 picks after ADP, feels pretty good as our QB2, just as a strict advance rate play.
I think he also has a lot of rushing upside that people don't kind of factor in with his ADP. That offense should look better this year. They bolstered the offensive line.
Mm-hmm.
He's going to have a full season under his belt now. I've heard a lot of good things with Kenny Pickett and the way the offense has been rolling so far through camp.
Absolutely.
If he's off the board, I'd want Ryan Tannehill, and you don't get that same guarantee that Tannehill is going to the QB all 17 weeks. Oh my God.
I wouldn't be worried about it really in Tennessee.
Yeah,
I agree. I agree. But with basically Kenny Pickett, 14 picks after ADP, or we're hoping that Pickett or Tannehill returns, there's a chance that they both get scooped. So with that in mind, I think it makes sense to go Kenny there.
Absolutely.
And we could even end this team with 2 tight ends. And I'm fine with the RB room. Tony Pollard, Stevenson, Penny, Tank Bigsby, and Gus Edwards, all in different bye weeks too. Can't make that one up.
Love that.
Fields and Pickett at QB. Wide receivers, A.J. Brown, DJ Moore, Gabe Davis, Elijah Moore, Sky Moore, Nico Collins, Darnell Mooney. Got the double correlation there. Cole Kmet and Hill. Like, I'm completely fine with this being a 4 tight end team. Or if you guys think we have to spend it at another position, I'm open ears. I am open ears.
No,
I mean,
does it depend? Does it depend on who our next tight end is? Could our next tight end tickle you in a different way?
I mean, of course, unless you want to save that last pick for Allen Robinson and the old correlation.
No. I won't. No.
No Robinson stack in 2023?
I'm not worried about like overstacking like the second QB in this field where it's like 25 team final. Like, what are the chances Allen Robinson spikes in front of?
I like the double stack in weekly winners, or maybe even the triple stack.
Definitely. In weekly winners, I feel like you absolutely need to get that stack. Like, you don't win a week with naked Kenny Pickett. I agree with that. Hunter Henry here, 100 times over.
Yeah. I mean, that tight end room is mighty fine to me. I think you have spike week with Taysom Hill. You have solid floor values with Cole Kmet and both Hunter Henry. Hunter Henry, all the reports are that he looks great in camp. So
he's going to have a really good season this year.
And
could be the number 1 scoring option in New England for pass catchers.
And that's the thing. Like, he's the red zone guy, and he's continuing to take that role over in training camp.
Absolutely. There's a lot of reports coming out of some really good chemistry going on with Mac Attack and Henry. And then on top of that, it's just the tight end whisperer is back in town. Bill O'Brien's back in town, baby. Let's do this.
Yeah, at this point, just wrap him in bubble wrap, though, and just keep him on the sidelines until the actual season starts. I don't want any stupid, dumb, bullshit preseason injuries to happen.
What are you guys thinking about for this last click? Because it's going to come on us quick. If it's RB, what are the chances one of these RBs spike in? I'm fine with the CEH bet, but Deneric Prince is getting steamed up in camp, sort of like what we saw Pacheco last season. So that does worry me that CEH might not even be the number 3 on this team.
I think he's kind of
Davis is a good click, but we have Pollard, so it doesn't make sense.
About taking a dice roll on a rookie tight end here with a last pick.
Like I said, I'm cool with this being a 4 tight end team. You like Mayer?
The thing
I
I like
also
about
don't
Mayer,
hate Joshua Kelly. Like it,
okay.
I agree.
Austin Eckler, if he goes down, who's next man up? It's really Joshua Kelly, and they
I agree
rely
with that.
so
He's one of the
heavily
safest
on the
RBs
run.
in this range. But do
I
we
agree
need an
with
RB? I think we need a tight end.
who are you leaning towards?
I guess we're gonna go Hurst. I don't have a ton of Hurst. 13 picks after. This is basically where I'm willing to draft Hurst after Henry's off the board. So I think this spot makes sense to bring in Hurst.
Dart throw.
And this is just, again, you just want to advance as many teams as possible. If you get into a pod with 25 teams in the final, do you have more than enough options here? Especially, I think there is something special about having more options at tight end in a 1-week final. Because as we know, like any tight end can spike after tight end 5. 5 to 20 are basically like the same guy. It could be anyone's. It could be anyone's week.
Who's going to get that
Taysom Hill too?
The 2 touchdown week. You know what I mean? Or is Taysom Hill
Yeah,
going to throw
3 catch, 2 touchdowns.
Yeah,
for 18 yards.
Yeah.
So I think that's interesting. I do think it'll be tougher for teams to advance with 4 tight ends because it's a tougher build to balance. But I think we did a good job here. Grabbing our first tight end at round 13, next one at 14, and then the last 2 rounds. I think that this team's it's pretty balanced.
Let's take a look at oh wait, we're about to finish here and we get to see who everyone did.
KLP just getting back from the Italies. Ciao. If you guys haven't already, drop a like on the live stream. If you guys are new to the channel, hit the subscribe button. We're doing a 24-hour live stream at 1,000 subscribers. And it also comes with our free best ball draft guide, which is available on the Discord, link in the description. Let's cover these teams that drafted with us today. I believe Het in the 2 spot.
Yeah, good to see.
Burrow, Love, and Tannehill. I mean, definitely enough. Definitely enough there at QB. Njoku and Chiggy. I'm cool with this pairing. I think this is probably the lightest I would want to be at tight end, but I think it works. Kenneth Walker, Damian Pierce, Pacheco, Foreman, Chase Brown, and Dwayne McBride. Do you like this group, guys?
I do like this group. I'm a big like we've talked before. I love Pierce. It's a little bit thin when you get towards the bottom there, but he's got.
I like the Chase Brown pick. I like the McBride pick. Like I don't even mind those.
He's got some lottery tickets. Lottery tickets there.
He's got the double stack in Cincy, so that's sexy with DK, Treylon Burks, Tony, Dobbs, and Van Jeffy. I think there's enough draft capital here.
Wide receivers.
I guess the biggest question is, would you go Tannehill with these 2 QBs, or would you go 3 tight ends? I think you can actually argue it either way. So I like this team.
He's got a pretty healthy Tennessee stack going there.
Yeah.
He's got Chiggy and he's got Treylon.
He's got a double.
Yeah.
So it definitely makes sense. It's a nice team. OTS in the 4 spot, Jalen Hurts and Aaron Rodgers, 19 picks after, which feels good. Darren Waller and Tyler Conklin. I like this pairing. I think that's fine. CMC, Rashad White, AJ Dillon, Raheem Mostert, Zamir White, and Lenny. I like this group of RBs. Just hero running back build. Brings in White, Dillon. Even Lenny, 17 picks after, feels good.
Ooh, baby.
Wide receivers, Devonta Smith, Drake London, Deontay Johnson, Cortland Sutton, Tyler Boyd, Alan Lazard, KJ Osborne, and Slayton. So he does get the double with Rodgers. Deontay Johnson being the 3rd receiver, Cortland Sutton. It might be just a little light at receiver.
It's light on the top for sure. When you're starting with, I love Smith, but he's not who I'd want with my wide receiver 1. However, if sometimes you get stuck in those situations, like who's his RB1? Did he take like Eckler? Or did he
CMC?
There you go. So that's the situation you get in. You know, that's the sacrifice you have to make when you take one of those RBs up high like that.
KLP, thank you for the super chat. Says go with Zach Wilson always.
Son
Go with
of
Zach
a bitch.
Inside joke. Inside joke.
Yeah.
Vicky Vic in the 5 spot. Tua, Derek Carr. I think this is maybe the lightest I'd want to be at QB.
Tua and Carr, that's it? Yeah, that's light.
It seems a little light, right?
That's a little light for me.
Kincaid, Knox, Ferguson, Jelani.
If Tua's my QB1, I'm probably going with a 3 QB build usually.
Really? I think I would stop with Tua and Daniel Jones, or Tua and Goff would probably be the latest I would stretch it.
Goff, that's risky.
I just like the offense this season. You add a pass catching running back, you add a pass catching tight end, you get JMO back for.
Here's the thing. The concussion thing, you never know when that's going to rear its ugly head again. That's my one thing with Tua. It's like once you start getting those concussions, once they start piling up, it becomes a problem, you know? So we'll see. Obviously, no one wants to root for that, but that's kind of why. That's the reason why I like to pad it a little bit. That's just my opinion.
Yeah. But are you limiting upside by padding it too much? I think you have to, when you do draft Tua, you have to just kind of go all in on that team. And if he does hit his ceiling, he was on a QB 7 points per basis. If you get rid of the games he left early with those concussions. But yeah, I see what you're saying. Let me, I have a little stat on these guys too. Like Goff even surprised me with how many times he spiked into the top 3 QBs.
It was all home games, right?
Yeah, probably.
His splits are pretty big.
Yeah, no doubt. I'll try to find that before the end of the draft. Tight ends, I think this makes sense for 4. I think he needed 4. He gets both Buffalo tight ends, Jake Ferguson, Jelani Woods. Shoemaker's back on the field for Dallas. I think that's something to note too. Joe Mixon, Miles Sanders, Dalvin Cook, Kendra Miller, and Jerome Ford gets a little value because of the Ford injury. Gets Dalvin 21 picks after. That's really nice. Maybe it's not my favorite running back group. If these are going to be the 2 QBs,
don't know what Cook's situation is going to be. And Cook, I mean, we love the talent, obviously, but we just don't know what.
I like where he got him. I like where he got him though.
No, for sure. But would you like it more if he had him as running back 4 instead of his running back 3?
It's weird. Like for me, I think I would like this more if this was like Dameon Pierce. I'm just not huge on Joe Mixon, so maybe it's just not hashtag my guys in here. That's not doing it for me. But I think what he spent makes sense, and he also got some values. So I can't knock it too much. I like the Kendra pick. Jerome Ford, I'm still drafting Jerome Ford, and after ADP, that is a small advantage based off like where other teams are drafting him. So
let me ask you though, when it comes to Mixon, how are you like factoring in P Ryan? You know, because like for me,
another running back just taking over. Another running back, Chase. Give me Chase Brown. Man, just Mixon was just wildly inefficient, and you can chop it up to bad O-line player. But another year older, he's got more drama this season going in. I'm not completely sold on Mixon at 44. I liked him at 60. I liked him at 80. Man, he was going at 90 or 100 on the big board. And I was just scooping him every single time. At 44, it's a little different for me just based on RBs I like better that go later. That being said, week 17 against KC, if he's playing that game, like he's a nice leverage play off Burrow.
And Hart, just to address this question here, I'm doing my best to push DP on Pat here. I'm assuming that's
Dameon Pierce.
Love me some Dameon Pierce.
Hart will stay in the stream for 23 of the 24 hours. If that live stream, that 24-hour live stream takes place at 1,000 subs, he'll be here for 23 hours if I mention Pierce once an hour.
That means he gets it. Pierce is the truth, baby. He's all svelte. You look at that guy on the podium. He's looking so svelte and ready to go, light in his feet.
I like this wide receiver room. by Vicky. Tyreek Hill, Olave, Debo,
Yeah.
D-Hop, Zay Flowers, Bateman, Rashid Shaheed. Gets 2 Baltimore receivers for this bring back game against Miami. Just 1 pass catcher in Miami. It's a nice. It's nice. It's nice. It's a good team. Just a different structure, probably just different player takes.
It's nice. He goes.
It's nice. Am I being nice? I think it's a little light at QB. I think the balance might be like I would rather just probably one more at the end there. I would probably rather another QB instead of Jelani Woods.
That's what I'm saying. That's kind of where I'm coming down on this. Give me a third QB. Now he doesn't have any
At
Patriots
212.
pass catchers. Otherwise, that would take my favorite late round QB in Mac Jones.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, all jokes aside, he's a pretty good value as your QB3 right now.
I would have probably tried to target Ryan Tannehill with the D-Hop pick and Tannehill and Tua.
Yeah.
I
No,
think
that
that's
makes
fine.
sense.
But Carr, he's got it stacked, so I can't really knock it. He's got the double stack too with Shaheed. I like Shaheed. Injured his groin in practice, which almost made me cry. But because he's been dealing with that in OTAs as well. Something to monitor. Man, you might see A.T. Perry on the field pretty soon, practicing with the ones a lot.
No, I'm going to ask you a risque question here, Pat. All right, get ready for it.
Does the shirt come off?
Who is your favorite naked QB? Okay, if you got to take a QB naked,
Tannehill.
I'm going Jones with that. Daniel Jones.
Okay. Yeah. I'm thinking late. I'm thinking like 150 plus.
Okay.
Who's your favorite 150 plus naked QB?
Nice. Who's your favorite deep naked QB? Okay.
Right.
All right.
Even Kenny Pickett. Honestly, Pickett's not a bad naked QB because there's so many options in the passing game.
Yeah.
I think he completely makes sense. Scoop Boy brings up Ritter. If we sort of see
Ritter
reach his ceiling with the rushing aspect, I could see that as well.
Yep. I'm liking this. I'm liking the naked Pickett call right now.
But it's not a condensed offense. I don't want naked Joe Burrow. You know what I mean?
No.
Not a rushing QB. It's hyper condensed around 2 guys. Yeah. Too many guys, too close. So, yeah, I'm cool with this draft. I thought this was a fun one. I hope everyone enjoyed it as much as we did. And on the way out, if you did, smash the like, and we'll be catching you guys on Wednesday and Thursday. We have special guest Herzig coming on the show, former BBM winner. Thank you, Johnny. Any words for the crowd?
Good to be here. Good to be back on the pound. See you guys next draft.
Let's go, Pounders.